Well, I grew up in Queens. My father drove a truck in the garment center. My mother was an orphan. I had a sister a year older than me. My mother was taking my sister to a local school in Bayside, Queens. And I used to hang out the streets, and I was a very physical guy. And we used to play a game called running bases. And that meant that you ran between two sewers. And they threw a baseball between you, and you tried to dodge, et cetera, et cetera. And I got whacked in the back of the head while my mother was away with my sister at a local ballet school.
Okay.
My friends, I was unconscious. They take me home, put me on the stoop, and ran.
Oh.
And my mother hears this from neighbors and says, "From now on, you are coming with us." And so I got dragged to my sister's school. And it was me, their mothers, and 40 giggling girls. And I was so bored, it just drove me crazy. And suddenly they started to jump. And I went, "Ooh, that's interesting." So I sneaked in back, and I said, "Oh, this is not so hard." And I'm flying around, and I'm disrupting the class. And the teacher then goes to my mother and says, "You've got to get him out of here or put him in tights at the bar." And I go, "Oh, wait a minute." And that was it. And that's how I started to dance. And then my mother, a very bright lady, hears about this guy called George Ballet. So she takes my sister off to the School of American Ballet in New York City. And she casually says, "Oh, incidentally, I have a boy at home who also dances, but yeah, I don't think he's very interested." And he said, "Oh my God, a boy? Can he walk? Bring him in." So they brought me in, and I am now 10 years old. And suddenly word goes around the school, there's a young boy, 10 years old, auditioning. And so I'm, doing my audition, and suddenly the door starts opening, and all these ballerinas, the company ballerinas. And then the door almost opens by itself, and in walks this very dapper man, George Ballet. So everybody took a look at me, and they all thought, well, he has potential. And then my father said, "You know what? I don't think so. I don't think I want my son to be a dancer." So he stopped me from dancing. And it crushed me, because by then I had started to develop whatever abilities I had, and I began to like it. And I suddenly got good at it. And it was a major turning point. But then my father said, "No, enough of this." And I got sent to a military college. I'm a graduate of the New York State Maritime College, as you know. And stopped dancing, 4 years. And from there, it just all went downhill. And then I finally said, you know what? When I finish, when I get my degree, I'm going to become a dancer. So I was a boxer, I was a baseball player, and won my letters, and won a championship, and stuff like that. So at least I could do that. Mm. And then once I graduated, I gave my degree to my dad, and I said, that's for you, Dad, but I'm going to become a ballet dancer. And he didn't talk to me for 2 years. And in 2 years, I suddenly was evolving and developing. And I was hoping he would come and see me, but he didn't. And then he finally says, okay, I'll come. And he said, your mom and I will come. And he said, the problem will be, where we're sitting here and you're standing at the back, we probably won't even recognize you. So I said, well, just come anyway. And I'll leave word, state dormant, all of that stuff. So he says, okay, we'll come. There were 4 ballets on. I had 3 principal roles. So I'm flying around the stage, and then the evening ends, and curtain comes down, last ballet, curtain goes back up, stagehand comes, puts the night light, and I'm talking with George Ballet, who's showing me what I'm doing right and wrong, and so on. And then he walks off stage right. I start going off stage left, and I hear something. There's my mom and dad on stage in tears. And the 3 of us stood on the stage laughing, hugging, and crying. And I spent the next 19 years as a principal dancer in George Ballet and Jerome Robbins' New York City Ballet. So it was just heaven. In all of our lives, eventually you wish to have parental guidance, relationship. You need that. I mean, I needed it, and I got it. So, and one thing led to another. I got a call from Miami. They wanted me to come down and start a company down there. Oh, wow. I went down, I started a company. It became a company that I brought to Europe 2 or 3 times. We were quite successful, and that company is still going on. So I've had from my point of view, just a wonderful life. It gave me a position. I had a position in my life, and to this day, people remember me. Mm. And it's, at this age when I'm of a serious age, but I tried to help, and I loved teaching. I loved helping. I loved guiding young minds, and it's been an enriching, fulfilling life. And at 88, I'm still vital.